moment to breathe, grab a beverage or two. We got professional guests with lots of stories for you. So take a seat right here and join us on Careers Over Beers.
This is Careers Over Beers podcast, and I'm Jesse Krause, the host. And today I have somebody on that has a lot more experience in front of the camera than me. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Delno Ebie. That's like hell no with a D.
Hell no?
Most people trip over it, so.
Yeah. It does look a little like I wouldn't know how to pronounce it unless you told me, you know.
Well, it's pronounced exactly how it's spelled.
Delno
Ebie.
Yeah. I was looking at your IMDb page, and it shows how to pronounce it too on there.
Yeah. It's helpful because a lot of people try to throw an A in there.
Yeah.
So because of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. So, for all you young people out there, he was a president of the United States
back in the day.
Back in the World War II. So, but yeah, I'm an actor, member of SAG-AFTRA. I teach ballroom and Latin dancing. I teach acting. I am a writer, and just for fun and kicks, I work at a law office. So there you go.
Is that right?
Yeah, I do.
Just for the hell of it.
Just for the hell of it, it helps. So
and you're not just acting when you're doing that?
Well, sometimes. Just depends.
Yeah. And today we're drinking some ginger beers.
Yes.
That's what you requested.
Yep.
So these are the ones that I found at the store.
Looks
and
good.
A little bit warm.
I'm going to taste it right now.
Give her a taste, yeah. And these are the non-alcoholic ones.
I've not had this brand. This is pretty good.
Stoli? Yeah, I think, it might not be the best time to be drinking these right now because I think they're Russian. I think it's a Russian company called Stoli.
Well, we'll make an exception just one time.
We already purchased them
exactly.
before
There's not much.
The world went crazy.
Yeah, well, the world is certainly going crazy.
Yep. So let's go back to your beginning. How did you start acting?
How did I start acting? Well, I've always been a performer, and I started out as a dancer, and my mom used to work as a bartender in the bars, and this is we're going way back. And it was a time when you could bring your kid, if you're a bartender, you could actually bring your minor child to your place of work.
Old school.
I mean, that's how far back we're going. I'm not going to say the decade, but
you could probably still smoke inside, though.
Oh, you could. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You could smoke inside and just, yeah. But, to occupy my time, I would it's when we had, jukeboxes as well. And so, I'd throw a quarter in the jukebox and, play a song and dance to it. I mean, they had mirrors all around, so I'd just dance and do that and try to imitate what I'd seen and stuff like that, like John Travolta and Saturday Night Fever.
Oh, yeah,
and Michael Jackson, stuff like that. So
try to moonwalk.
Hey, I taught myself how to moonwalk.
Did you?
Yeah, I do pretty good. I can still do it
before
if I had
YouTube?
the right shoes. Long before YouTube.
I learned from YouTube.
No, I used to have to. I watched MTV and then I'd have to, watch it over and over and over again, and then
just get in the mirror
myself. Well, not necessarily a mirror, but a lot of times also because we lived out in an apartment building, and so I would go out and there was glass in front, so I would just go out and put my boombox on there and play the song and use that as kind of a mirror and try to remember.
That's a lot more impressive than me learning from a YouTube video where they break it all down for you.
Well, that's what we had back in the day, so I mean we're going old school.
Yep.
But then I moved out to California, probably when I was about 16, and was going to pursue acting then, or try to pursue it. But the problem is I couldn't afford, or we couldn't afford, my mom and myself couldn't afford the insurance, car insurance. I mean, it was astronomical for a 16-year-old male in California, and even back then. So I had to rely on everybody coming to get me.
Sorry, before that though, were you involved in any plays or any sort of acting at all?
No, I wasn't involved really in any acting. I mean, it all stems from starting to dance and perform in front of a mirror or a pane of glass, and then I had the intention of pursuing an acting career, and I auditioned for maybe a play or two when I was out there. I mean, I didn't know anything about what I was doing or how to do it, and
you just had this dream, and you're like, I want to do that. I want to be on the big screen.
I did. I mean, I wanted to start doing it. So, flash forward, move back here to Kansas. Start learning how to teach ballroom and Latin dance at Fred Astaire Dance Studio when it was here. And then a couple of years later, after they closed down, I decided, what do I need to do to be an actor? And so I had some friends say, well, you need to have a resume. And of course, when you go, I mean, it's before the internet, so I had to go to the library and check out books and read all up on that. And so I decided to go audition at Wichita Community Theater in April of 1993. So that's when it all kind of started taking shape.
Started kicking off?
Yeah, and of course, my crazy ass wants to, the first play that I auditioned for was Shakespeare's Richard II.
Oh, yeah.
So I didn't have, and the director was Stephen Broker at the time, and he had come back from New York. He had run an off-Broadway theater in New York. And, nicest guy in the world, but I mean, it was intimidating because he was good. I mean, he was really good. And so I went up there to audition, nervous as hell, didn't know a damn thing about what I was saying or any of the, it's Shakespeare.
Yeah.
and so I did it, and surprisingly, I got a call from him, and he wanted to cast me in not one but 2 roles.
You must have killed that audition then.
I don't know if I killed it. Maybe they were just desperate, probably.
Yeah.
Because males usually run away from Shakespeare.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I ain't doing that. But I started that, and one of the nicest compliments that I got after one performance, it was that they didn't know I was the same person playing the characters.
Oh, yeah, the 2 different characters.
So I was able to distinguish the 2 enough.
That's a hell of a compliment for an actor.
Yeah, well, and one character was kind of like a servant to the king, and very prim and proper, and he held himself away, and he spoke a certain way, and then the other one was more like my youthful and like I was.
Yeah.
So it was just, and really, Broker he would tell me during rehearsals, he would tell me how he wanted me to say it. And so like that. So, during that first play, I just basically imitated what I had heard him say and just tried to recreate that the best I could.
Were you doing accents and stuff as well?
No, but Shakespeare's is very,
proper?
Yeah, this is not from Richard II, but, it's like from Hamlet. Oh, what a rogue and peasant slave am I! Is it not monstrous that this player here, but in a fiction, in a dream of passion, could force his soul so to his own consent, and from her workings all his visage want, tears in his eyes, distraction in his aspect, a broken voice, and all for what? For Hecuba? What's Hecuba to him, or he to Hecuba, that he should weep for her? See what I'm saying?
Dude, that's awesome.
Different.
That was great.
So thank you. And so I got through that play and auditioned for the next play and so forth and so on. I think that first year I did 10 plays. So basically in 12 months, so back to back to back. And most of the time I was on stage. Some of them were, decent size roles, and some of them were smaller roles. Mm-hmm. But I was learning. And, one of them I ran the reel-to-reel, so for the sound.
Okay.
Which was completely different than what we have now. So, I was just trying to be a sponge and soak up as much as I could. And then it just kind of progressed, and then I auditioned for a play at the Wichita Center for the Arts, and got to do a couple of there, including Kabuki Othello, which Kabuki is a Japanese theatrical art form, and so I got to be the key player in that. So I kind of accent, because I had dance, a dance background. I could accent it, and
so that probably
I
helped.
knew beat and stuff like that. So it's when they would move certain ways, I would have to accent their movement as they were doing it.
Okay.
So that was fun. The hardest part about that was being kind of on my knees in a certain position to do it for the performance. So that killed my knees, but it is what it is.
Hey, it's all for that money, though, right? And the experience.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you got to sacrifice your knees or something else,
Mm-hmm. Fortunately, I was young, so
So was your goal during this whole time when you're going through all these plays? I mean, obviously you're wanting the experience and you're wanting to learn everything, but was your ultimate goal to switch it to movies sometimes?
Yeah, I mean, that was the ultimate goal, but I knew I had to build up experience. I had to build a resume, because I had not gone to college or anything like that. I was learning by doing. So I just kind of threw myself into that over a number of years, and went and got headshots. And back in the day when they were black and white headshots, not color headshots, and you had to go get them printed off of a 5x7. You would take the
You had to take it somewhere, the film?
Yeah, the film, and then you'd have them print them out 5x7. Then you'd lay them out, see which ones were the best, pick those, and you have those blown up to 8x10. And then you'd pick those to get typeset with your name on it. So it was a long, drawn out process compared to today, where you can just do it on the computer and go to get it printed and be done with it. Now they don't really have you don't really have to have the hard copy headshots. It's all digital.
Yeah, I was going to say there's probably not even a need for a physical print of your headshots, right? It's all online.
Yeah, it's very rare. I mean, it's very rare that you need that physical. I mean, so much of auditioning today is self-taping anyhow. So you almost have to learn how to work. Do the lights, and like we have in here, and the I use the mic that's on the camera. But a lot of actors will use a mic like this to record, or a lapel mic or whatever. So, but going back to when I first started, my first film per se was as an extra in Sarah Plain and Tall Winter's End in 1999 that shot here at Cowtown.
Okay.
And I was excited to even be on a film set, even though it was in my hometown. I mean, I loved it because I didn't have to travel, and Glenn Close was in it, Jack Palance was in it, Christopher Walken was in it. I was actually in a scene with Christopher Walken.
Wow.
And I was just thought, this is cooler than shit.
Hell yeah, man.
And then I had we shot that in, I think, March of 99, and it didn't come out until November of 99 on television. It was this is before you could just get it on streaming or anything. There was no such thing as that.
So it was a Western, I'm assuming?
Yeah, it was a Western. It was a continuation. It was the third movie in a trilogy of the Sarah Plain and Tall series. So, and I waited 6 months. Finally comes on television. Waited for my scene because I knew where I was supposed to be, and I wasn't there. And then I ended up on the cutting room floor.
What?
Yeah, I mean, I was so disappointed because I had waited this entire time.
Oh man, that's a buzzkill.
No more than to see just walking past as Christopher Walken's, riding past it on a buggy or whatever.
Why wouldn't they even tell you that they were going to cut you out?
They don't do that. They don't do that now. I mean,
really?
It's just
it just is what it is.
If you film it and you don't see it, then you assume that you landed on the cutting room floor. That's just the way it goes.
And they don't show you like a preview or anything of the movie before it's released?
Oh no, I didn't. That was long before. I mean, I was just an extra. So I mean, they don't feel the need to. They're not going to show all the extras, before it's released. I mean, that's just the way it goes. And that was my first, lesson in this business is, you don't know until you know.
Yeah.
And same thing with auditions, now. So you don't know anything, you don't hear anything unless you get cast. I mean, you don't get any feedback. You don't go, oh yeah, it was great, but we like this other guy better, or whatever. Because there's so many reasons why they don't cast you, and a lot of it has nothing to do with talent. It has nothing to do with anything that makes sense. It's just your look didn't match with the other people that they have cast, or maybe you look too much like the other people that's in the movie or the stars, or it's just a myriad of reasons.
Or maybe they have too much footage, and they need to cut some out to shorten it down or whatever.
Or a character gets cut, from the final script or whatever. So, but then after that, I auditioned for a showcase because I was with an agency here in town, and the showcase was in Texas. So I went ahead and auditioned for it and got into it, and we had to perform a scene and had to sing and stuff like that. And I ended up getting 13 callbacks from that, which I thought was, wow, pretty good.
Yeah.
So ended up getting a manager out of that and an agent. Started splitting my time between Los Angeles and here. And unfortunately, I mean, the manager didn't do me any good. I mean, he got me a couple of auditions, and then the manager got me an agent. And I thought, well, if I get an agent, then that'll start getting me auditions. Nope.
What's the difference between a manager and an agent as an actor?
A manager will help guide and shape your career. Give you solid advice on, what headshots they think are working, or, what scenes maybe you should put on your demo reel, or, things like that.
Okay.
They can't negotiate under California law. They cannot negotiate a contract.
Okay.
All right. Only agents can negotiate a contract. So even if you audition, like for now, if I get an audition through my manager, who's in Los Angeles, and everything, and I get booked for it, which means I get cast, then I have an agent as well, and so my manager and my agent have to collaborate and work out the day rate or whatever, and then the agent negotiates the contract.
Okay.
So, but then when you involve, the more people you involve, the more commission you have to pay, because I have to pay a 10% commission.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, how does it work? You don't have to pay a manager or an agent from your pocket, right? They just get part of whatever jobs you get, roles you get.
Correct.
Okay.
They get my manager gets 10% on union productions, and my agent gets 10%.
And when it comes to managers and agents, are you actively searching for those, like before you had one, or do they reach out to you?
Oh, well, no, I spent a lot of time searching. I mean, because what happened is, I had that manager and agent and stuff like that, and in 2003, I went out there, and I did A Man Apart with Vin Diesel, which I was just an extra in that. But again, I was on the back lot of Universal Studios for 2 days, for 2 shoot days, and a month before that, I'd been taking the tour on the tram, and then I was sitting back, backstage watching the tram go by and people looking and stuff like that, and I was, got a chance to work with Vin Diesel and kind of get an idea of how he works and what kind of guy he was. And
yeah, so when you're there and you're doing this, do you get starstruck at all, or did you at the time?
I used to, yeah.
And you're just there and you're like, wow, like this is what I've been dreaming of,
Yeah, it's just like I'm freaking on set with Vin Diesel. Holy shit.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the second thing that comes out of your mind is like, wow, he's not as big as I thought he was. That's interesting. I mean, he's still bigger than me, but I mean, on screen he looks like muscle-bound, towering type of guy.
Oh, yeah.
And he's not. He's probably 6'1", 6'2", maybe.
You think I could kick his ass?
Probably not. No more than I could. So unless you get a good crotch shot in, and it kind of brings him down to your level.
Yeah.
But he was a nice guy, and it was an honor to just be there and watch and learn, because I'd had an interest in filmmaking, and I wanted to know about the process. So I would just watch and learn and try to absorb as much as I could and enjoy the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I did learn one very important lesson, though. If you are a beautiful young woman, you can get picked by the first AD to be in a scene with the star if you're an extra.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
So I was like, well, damn it, I'm not a pretty young woman, so I'm just shit out of luck. Oh, well.
It's kind of a weird world there in Hollywood, isn't it? With like attractive females, especially landing big roles and stuff, doing some shady stuff, maybe. All those stories.
I mean, not really. There's a lot of shady stuff going on, but not because of the ladies. I mean, there's a lot of people that will take advantage of pretty young ladies or pretty young men that don't know any better and are starstruck and just want to do this, want to be famous instead of actually putting the work in.
Yeah.
And they get taken advantage of, and a lot of times they find themselves in a situation that they don't know how to deal with and react to. And that, now if you are an adult and you find yourself in that situation, that's one thing. But if you are a minor, parents have got to, because I teach acting, and I've told parents of these young actors, you are their biggest advocate. You are the one that people need to deal with. Period.
Yeah.
Don't be a pain in the ass, stage mom or dad, but you have to take responsibility for your kid and make sure that they are safe at all times. And so, but I wasn't upset because a pretty young woman was getting an opportunity to be in a scene, be featured with the scene. That's just the way the business works. And it's something that, again, it was a lesson, and it's something that you learn while you're doing, kind of like learning how you end up on the cutting room floor.
Right.
So you can't really you can get mad about it. It doesn't do any good.
So do you think that it's fair to say if you're a young person that's just looking to get famous and you'll do anything to get famous, is that a bad way to go about it? Yes.
Yeah, it is a completely bad way to go about it, because your head's not in the right place, your heart's not in the right place. This business is so much more than being famous. Fame is fleeting. People can be famous one minute and be forgotten the next minute.
Mm-hmm.
The importance is learning how to do the work and do the work well. One thing that I learned early on working with Stephen Broker was the fact that if you're going to do something, whether you're getting paid for it or not getting paid for it, whether it's community theater or whether it's on a Hollywood soundstage, learn to do it well, or why do it at all? Because this is a time-consuming business. In rehearsals for a play, you're rehearsing from 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night, Monday through Friday, until tech week, and then, you're going, straight through the play with lights and sound and all that good stuff. And then you have performance. I mean, in 2001, I did West Side Story at Crown Uptown Dinner Theater. And we did 43 performances of West Side Story.
Oof.
Many of them 2 times on Sunday.
Wow.
We did, an early matinee and then a evening performance.
Is that difficult to give the same energy every single time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh yeah, it is.
Because it feels like, this is just doing this again. It
is, especially when your body's not used to it. But we had spent 4 to 6 weeks rehearsing. I ended up pulling both leg muscles during the rehearsals. I didn't think I was going to be able to do it, but I on opening night I had both legs wrapped. And I didn't kick quite as high or whatever. But other actors had some injuries, and so we as a as a company had to learn how to kind of step in for the other actor, and if they
you guys were going hard.
We were, and because it's a hard play to do. I mean, it's not an easy. When you're doing film, you have the advantage of had them saying cut, back to one, and we're only going to do a block of this, right? And then they'll switch up the angle, and then you'll finish the next block, and so forth and so on. With a play, it's straight through. When you go in performance, it's straight through. You don't get to stop the play, and so like that. The only time that we've ever stopped to play was during a performance of Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, again at the Crown Uptown, and one of the brothers blew his knee out on stage.
Oh.
And it was like, oh, we had
Shit.
to. That's when we had to stop. Everybody went home. People got their money or a refund or a ticket to come to another performance.
Mm-hmm.
And then we ended up taking another actor who was one of the suitors and placing him in the brother's role, and he had to learn, all that choreography and those
really
lines
quickly.
like really quickly, because the other actor, he wasn't able to finish it because of his knee.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things you have to. That's one of the things that might happen when you are a dancer on stage. Doesn't matter how good a shape you're in. Things like that happen.
Right. It's like, sports are the same way. It doesn't matter if you're the most in shape athlete out there. Mm-hmm. There's risks involved,
Oh yeah. I've had my leg, both leg muscles pulled. I've had, I've hurt my back, I've hurt my ankle. I've landed flat on my, I kicked too high and my legs went out from underneath me and I landed full body weight on my elbow.
Yeah.
And had to keep going. I've been stabbed in the arm twice.
With a knife?
During Romeo and Juliet. We were doing, I was Tybalt, and I was fighting Shakespeare in the Park, and I was doing me and Romeo were going at it, and he got me not once but twice in the arm. So it
Audience
was
is like, man, that's pretty realistic.
Oh, it hurt. And I had a big old bruise all up my arm. So
did you carry on or did you quit?
No, I carried on. I didn't quit, but I did take the director aside and say, if he stabs me in the arm again, you're not going to have a Romeo. I'm just saying. So I can, once is okay, twice, third time it's not happening.
Yeah.
So but that's all part of the learning process and everything like that.
Do you enjoy doing plays more or movies more?
I enjoy doing both. I don't place one over the other. It's kind of like,
yeah, I understand that.
When people ask me what my favorite movie is or what my favorite song is, I don't have a favorite movie. I don't have a favorite song. I don't have favorites.
I'm the same way, man.
So,
I can't pick. People ask me all the time on this podcast, "What's your favorite drink?" I'm like, I don't have one. I like a lot of drinks,
There you go. There you go.
Same with movies. I don't have a favorite movie myself. I don't think I couldn't pick one.
My favorite movie is a good movie.
Exactly.
That I can enjoy, and one of the things that I don't understand with a lot of people is when they criticize a movie. Oh, that was it. Like comic book movies. It was a comic book movie. It doesn't have any redeeming value. It doesn't have this. It's not. It's like, what did you expect? It's a damn comic book movie. It's entertainment. If you went there and you were entertained,
right, then
you got your money's worth. I'm not going there to watch some, life-changing movie or life-changing scene or glorious acting or anything like that. I want to be entertained.
Exactly. If you like inspirational, life-changing movies, then just watch that genre. What are you going to see Spider-Man for?
Well, I like those movies. If it's really well written and it's well acted and well directed and stuff, I enjoy those type of movies just as much as anybody else. But I also like to just go to a movie to see car crashes.
Sure.
And see people get the shit beat out of them.
Some cool special effects.
And stuff like that.
Have you ever had the shit beaten out of you on TV?
I have on film. Yeah.
On film.
Yeah. It's fun. I've beaten the shit out of people too. Because most of the time I play a bad guy. So which is the fun part.
You do kind of have that demeanor to you, don't you? You could be a
Sometimes.
good villain.
Well, it's because I'm a dad.
Yeah.
So that's why.
I was looking through your page too, and looking at some of your movies, and you've done a lot of westerns as well. I mean, you play a great western guy.
I'm actually scheduled to shoot my last scene for this movie that I've been shooting is scheduled for next Saturday.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, and then I get to I shaved the mustache off, which my wife is very looking forward to.
Yeah.
Because I usually wear a neatly, nicely trimmed beard, and she much prefers that than just the long.
Hey, I love the
Western mustache.
I mean, I'm rocking a mustache.
I see that. I see it. Yeah. So
sometimes you have to.
Well, I had to for this role.
Yeah.
Because it's based on an actual, on a real person, and this is the way he looked. So, the one thing I was worried about is because I've never grown it out this long, I didn't know if I could. And I was just like, man, I hope I can get it to where they want it to be.
Talking like handlebars almost?
Oh yeah, to where you see how long it is. I mean, if I grew it out longer, I could probably handlebar it or something like that. But
that's kind of fun. That's like a fun aspect of your job is that you get when you're playing a character or whatever, you're kind of that character for a little while in your own life, right?
Yeah, well, it's fun because I get to look a certain way that I wouldn't look normally, or I get to be a certain. It's just that's the whole. Acting is kind of shape-shifting, really. I mean, you can play the same character, the same person, or a version of the same character all the time, and sometimes I do. But I really like in theater. That's the nice thing about theater. The difference between theater and film is theater allows you to shape and become such a wildly different character than who you actually are, than a lot of times film will.
Because film, you're only doing it for a short period of time when the cameras are on, right?
Exactly, and you only play a certain character. I mean, I'll give you an example, like Rock Hudson. We all know who Rock Hudson is. He was a very charismatic cinema actor. Great presence on screen, but he played the same, basically a version of the same character and everything. He did theater where he actually got to step out of that and kind of play and experiment and see, what kind of actor he could really be. Stacy Keach is another one. There's not enough emphasis is on theater for actors nowadays, especially if they have aspirations to do film. I think you need to do theater.
If you're going to be in film,
if you're going to be an actor, period, you need to do theater.
Yeah, I think you're going in for the wrong idea, like you said earlier. If you're just trying to be in a big Hollywood movie all the time, right?
Yeah,
skipping all the work.
I love doing theater. I don't do theater as much as I would like to, simply because it's a months-long commitment. So it's invariably I'll commit to something, because when I commit to something, I don't like to back out of it, and so it's invariably I'll commit to something, and then I'll get auditions for film and television to come in, and so I'll audition. But if I get cast, then I got to make a decision. Do I say, sorry, can't be in the play?
Yeah.
Or do I, what do I do? It puts me in a position I don't like to be in. Because, especially with local productions, there's not really any such thing as an understudy. So there's not someone to step in to your role if you can't do it, so.
Yeah, that makes sense. When you're doing like a character though, like let's say for film or theater, either or, have you ever had a character that you're playing where it's like almost life-changing and it kind of bleeds into your own life as a person? Have you ever experienced that at all? Or is it just simply work?
No, it's just simply work. I mean, I've had characters that I couldn't stand, that I didn't like, that if that character in real life were to walk up to me, I wouldn't like him.
Yeah.
And not, a lot of times they're bad guys, but I mean, you know, certain people that do certain things and stuff like that, I wouldn't have anything to do with in real life.
That's a sign of a great actor, though. Somebody that can play something that they personally don't like.
Well, yeah.
Not everybody can be the hero, you know, in a movie. That's something that's feels powerful and amazing.
Yeah, and that's the fun part. Again, that's the fun part about being an actor, is that you get to, you know, you get to step into these roles that you would never occupy in your actual life, and many times for good reason.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I ask is because you hear about these stories like Heath Ledger getting killed by his role as the Joker or stuff like that, where it's just so like crazy that it just kind of makes their personal life shitty, you know?
Well, a lot of actors are method actors. I mean, and then, you know, we'll talk a minute about that. You know, method acting is, you know, like Strasberg or Meisner and stuff like that, to where you completely occupy the character, you know, mind, body, you know, soul, whatever. And that's their method. That's what works for them. You know, and a lot of times they'll stay in character throughout the duration of the shoot. So, you know, I tried that, and it doesn't work for me.
Really?
You know, it's just it's not that it's a bad, or it's not anything. It just doesn't work.
It's just not your
for me.
technique.
It's just not my technique. I enjoy. I mean, as soon as they say cut, I'm out of the character. I'm done. As soon as they say action, I get back into the character. I think again that comes back to being a theater actor. You know, because when you're backstage, you know, you're kind of just waiting for your entrance.
Hanging out with your friends too, kind of.
Yeah,
right?
trying not to make too much noise and piss off the stage manager. And then you know, and then when you hear your cue line, you walk out on that stage, and you're no longer that actor that was, you know, backstage. You are now that character walking onto the stage. And I try to carry that over into to film as well. One thing also that you can never do as an actor is get so razor focused that you turn your actor brain off. And your actor, what I mean by actor brain is you have to be aware of what's around you, what's going on around you, especially in theater, because a lot of times, you know, a prop might not work the way it's supposed to work, or someone will forget their entrance, or forget their lines, or whatever. And so, you know, your actor brain has to know and be aware that that's happening. You know, you have to stay in character.
Adapt.
Yeah, you stay in character, but you know, your actor brain's going, okay, this is what's happening. How can I help? How can I help this person?
How can you keep it?
You know, loop them back around, because usually it's brief. If someone forgets, you know, a line or something like that, it's a brief. It's just a brief blip. You know, it's happened to all of us. It feels like an eternity.
Yeah.
You know, and you're inside. You know, if you're the actor forgetting, you know, you're screaming, "My God, my God, my God, my God, my God, help me, save me, someone save me! What do I do?" You know, and then someone brings you, will give you a cue line or whatever, or bring you back around, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I know where I'm at now, thank God, and then you go back into it.
Then you're comfortable again.
The trick is not to just stop everything and go, oh shit, what do I
Freeze
do?
up.
You know, oh crap, I'm an actor, I'm a deer in the headlights.
Yeah.
What the heck?
It's kind of like playing a musical instrument. When you hit that wrong note, you can't just go you know, you
yeah.
gotta keep tie it in, you know, and keep playing.
Exactly. And it's the same thing for film, except, you know, they have the luxury of going, cut, let's do it again.
True.
You know.
Yeah. So
that's
it's a
the
little
nice
less
thing.
stressful than probably in my mind to be able to know that, oh, I can always reshoot this if I have to. Whereas a live performance.
Well, it's stressful unless it's the end of the day and everybody's tired and I want to go home, and you got the
And you're
last
the one that
line,
jacked it
and
up.
then you keep on screwing it up, and it's just like,
Have you been there?
I've been there.
What's
I
your
have
most
been there.
embarrassing moment, you think?
Well, it wasn't really an embarrassing moment, but there's a movie I did called Ambrose Bierce Civil War Stories.
Yes.
And the last line, the director is wanting me to say it a certain way. It had to be delivered a certain way. And I just kept trying to get it, and I kept on I just kept missing the mark. It's like, shit.
And everyone's standing there waiting.
It's getting toward the end of the day. People are tired. I mean, especially the crew. The crew gets there before the actors. So, I mean, they've been there, a lot longer than I have. And they're tired. They want to wrap this and go home.
Yeah.
And they'll do it the next day. So, fortunately for me, a generator blew out. A light blew out because the generator ran out of gas that was running the light. So it's like, well, just, all right, take 5. So I went and I grabbed a Coca-Cola, went off to myself, and then just was quiet and just kind of tried to internalize what I was supposed to do. Because it was, the pressure was, part of the problem was the pressure was mounting.
And yeah, the more it happens, the more it's...
Well, and it was internal pressure on myself. It's like, get this right. What the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And so after that 5 minutes, they got the light set and the generator and all that good stuff ready to go. And then, okay, let's get back to work. Last line of the day. And so we did it again, and I nailed it. I was so relieved.
Yeah.
And that's what ended up in the movie. So, but getting
huge
there,
weight off your shoulders.
Oh, it's a huge weight.
That kind of reminds me of, have you ever seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Mm-hmm. I have.
Yeah. Leonardo DiCaprio's character, he's in this camper. That's how I imagine that going down,
Well, there was a lot of truths in that film.
That was a great film, wasn't it?
It was a really great film. I didn't really care how they portrayed Bruce Lee, but other than that, it's that's my own personal. Well, not just mine, but I mean, his daughter was not too happy about it either.
Oh, really? So, when you're like, have you ever done many comedy films at all? Or at least
I've done maybe one or a couple of short films. I mean, I've done more comedy on stage.
One thing that I've always wondered with actors is when somebody's being funny in the film or the play or whatever, and the rest of you have to be in character too. You can't be laughing, and some of that's got to be hard, right?
It is, because a lot of times you almost start to laugh.
Yeah.
And if you do laugh, you have to laugh in character. So it's I've done more comedy on stage. So just because, again, stage is a little bit more willing to let you branch out a little bit, to where my look lends itself to, on film, lends itself to dramatic, tough guy or bad guy roles.
Yeah.
So, which is fine.
Yeah.
My wife likes it. I don't ever kissed a girl, so I mean that.
You haven't?
I don't. I've kissed the girl a couple of times.
Is that kind of weird? When you have to kiss somebody?
Oh my God, yes. It's very uncomfortable.
It's got to be so strange.
Very weird, and I don't care how beautiful they are or how nice they are. It is absolutely terrifying and the strangest thing in the world.
Yeah.
To kiss someone you don't know. I mean, other than acting on film or on stage,
and to make it look intimate and everything too.
Well, and it's harder than it looks, because there is nothing intimate. There's nothing sexy about a stage kiss or a film kiss. There is not. And then when you're married, it really makes it.
That's got to be weird.
Awkward as hell, because in the back of your head is going, oh, I hope I don't get in trouble for this.
Yeah.
So I tell my wife, because she'll go over the scene with me multiple times when I'm memorizing the line. She gets to be my reader when I'm prepping a role, as well as when I am getting ready, prepping an audition. And so, she knows what's in the script.
She never watches the scene, though, and she'll be like, you enjoyed that a little too much.
No, she'll watch it. No, actually, she, one film that I did, she actually looked at it and said, I didn't believe that. That didn't look real.
So that's kind of a... does she want you to be a better actor, or does she want you to not be as intimate?
Well, no, I mean, she was giving me her...
If you're into it.
She was giving me her critique. I mean, it's not really into it, because on those scenes, whether it be on film or on stage, you have to have an incredible amount of trust with the person that you're sharing the scene with, and understand that this is what it is. the script calls for it. We're going to do it in character.
It's
do
purely
this in
business.
Character. It's strictly business.
Yeah.
And yes, there have been relationships come out of people doing movies and stage and stuff like that. But for the most part, that's not how it really is in real life. So you got to have a lot of trust with each other and know neither one of you are going to step over or cross that boundary of, sticking your tongue in their mouth or them sticking their tongue in your mouth or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just, especially nowadays. I mean, with in the age of COVID, it even makes it more.
Sure.
More of a situation that and they've started what's called intimacy coaches or whatever for sets. So you have an intimacy coach that is there to literally walk you through how to do this in the most comfortable way possible, and they're there to ensure that no one crosses a line.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
Which takes a lot of pressure off an actor because you're thinking, how the hell am I supposed to do this? I mean, you know how to do this and you know how to kiss your wife,
right?
All right, or your girlfriend or whatever. But when you're having to do that scene on screen or on stage, it's just very uncomfortable.
I can see that for sure.
Very uncomfortable.
I can definitely see it, and especially when you start getting into more than kissing, like sex scenes.
I've not had to do one of those.
You haven't?
No.
Would you?
Like
though?
I said. I don't see a reason why I would, though. I mean, I play the bad guy all the time, so that's one of the advantages.
Bad guys have side chicks.
Nah, but no one cares about the bad guy and what he's doing. They just want to know if he's going to kill people and make people's life miserable, and then end up getting his just desserts at the end.
What if it was a big role though, and it's like, wow, this is huge. Like this is a big moment for my career. It involves a steamy sex scene.
It's something that I would have to discuss with my wife. If my wife was uncomfortable with it, then I would be talking to the director and say, we're going to have to figure out, and the intimacy coach, we're going to have to figure a workaround for this. We're going to have to figure out something.
How much of it on screen how much of it is actually sex going on though?
It's not. There's no sex.
That's what I figured.
You have certain things that are covered up, and so when you see someone get out of bed and they're naked or they're they got their butt showing or whatever, first of all, that's been agreed to prior to the shoot. That's in their contract, or not in their. Some stars put in their contract no nudity or just backside nudity, no frontal nudity or anything like that, male or female. But that's all agreed to by the representation, and it usually costs a little bit more money. For the producers to have that added in. So, but if you see someone getting out of bed and you see their butt, whether male or female, that's the only time they're nude is when they're stepping in front of the camera for that. If they're in bed prior to that, they've got pasties, they've got flesh covered or flesh colored
things
stuff, things to hide their parts and stuff like that, and again, it comes down to that trust issue with your scene partner.
Yeah, I figured you're not shooting porn, so it's not. There's no real stuff going on there.
No, there is there shouldn't be any real stuff going on.
No,
if it's a professional set, there should be none of that stuff going on. Because you're going to have everything there.
Still, it'd be kind of strange, because that's your coworker, probably your friend, hopefully.
Yeah.
Have you ever worked with somebody who you don't like in person, and you have to be friendly to them on screen or on stage, but like in real life, you're like, I can't stand that person? No,
and not actor-wise. No, I've worked with a couple of directors that got on my last nerve.
Yeah.
And came pretty close to getting the shit knocked out of them.
Yeah.
But it's not any coworkers or fellow actors or anything like that. So,
do you watch yourself?
Sometimes. I mean, I have to when I'm editing my demo reel, which a demo reel is just a chosen set of scenes that you use to promote your work. So when you are submitting an audition or something like that, you can show them, okay, this is some of the stuff, the prior stuff that I've done. So this is kind of what you're getting yourself into, so forth and so on. So I have to watch myself for that, and you get sick of watching yourself. I mean, it's just, yeah. I mean, I don't mind a premiere if I'm going with, so my wife can see it or my kids can see it or something like that. But I've got, I think, 4 or 5 movies on Amazon and Tubi TV right now, and I haven't watched any of them.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are weirded out by it, seeing themselves on screen, or even especially their voice. Like when I edit these podcasts, I'm like, God, I don't like listening to that.
Well, and I've already watched. I'm weird in the sense that I can watch a movie one time and I don't watch things over and over and over and over and over again. The only time I'll watch a movie more than once is if I've gone to a movie theater and by myself or with my son, and I think it's a good movie, like a superhero movie or something.
Yeah.
And I want my wife to see it when it comes out on streaming. Then I'll watch it again with her.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't like watch something over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. Which there are people like that just want to watch these same movies over and over.
And over. Yeah, and I don't like doing that with my movies or anybody else's movies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I watch it one time and
sometimes it's a comfort thing, though. It's like, oh, that movie makes me feel good inside,
True.
Like I could always, like Lord of the Rings is one I could always put on, and I'm just in that world now, and I'm like, yeah, I kind of like this feeling,
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not a big fan of watching things over and over either. But
well, and I've already watched. If I watch myself, when I watch, especially if it's editing a demo, I mean, I always pick out the stuff that I should have done better.
Yeah, for sure.
Or why the hell did I do it that way, or why did I say a line that way when I should have said it this way? It's the same thing when after you audition. 3 or 4 months later, it's like, oh damn, I should have done it. I should have said it this way.
Yep. I know the feeling, man. So it's best to just leave it as it is and leave it alone. Don't go back and critique yourself too much.
Yeah, that's harder said. That's easier said than done.
Oh yeah,
it's a hard thing not to do. So but yeah.
I guess it's a way you could learn from yourself though too, right? If you watch some of your stuff, you could pick out things and maybe better yourself.
Yeah,
from that.
Yeah, you can. I mean, it's especially. I mean, I've done self-tape auditions, and then a year later, I mean, it's still on my computer. I'll see it, and I'll click on it and play it, and then it's like, oh, so that's why I didn't get that part.
Oh yeah.
I see. Okay. So it's what you thought was great at the time isn't real great a year later. So, but that's part of the business.
So you said you have like 4 or 5 movies on Amazon. Mm-hmm. What's the most well-known movie that you've been a part of?
I did what got me into Screen Actors Guild was The Haunted Mansion, Disney,
Mm-hmm.
So Disney Plus.
I was going to mention that one,
yeah.
'Cause I knew about that.
So, but I'm, even though I was under a principal contract, it got me into Screen Actors Guild. I get residuals for it. I'm dressed head to toe in costume, and you're not going to be able to see me unless I'm sitting next to you saying that's where I am.
Oh, really?
It's just like, oh, well, you were just background. No, I was under a principal contract. They don't just put you in Screen Actors Guild for being a background.
Yeah.
But because of the way the story is structured, because it's based on the ride, the ballroom dancers and the ghost dancers are an integral part of the story.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I was under a principal contract, because not everybody can do Viennese waltz backwards in a mask. So,
and you got to work with Eddie Murphy too, right?
Yeah, Eddie Murphy, Terrence Stamp, who was the original Zod in the original Superman movies.
Oh, really?
And Wallace Shawn, who was in Princess Bride, and all those. That's
amazing,
really cool.
Man. That's awesome. That explains though. I was skimming through Haunted Mansion to try to find you in there, and I I figured you're
can't.
probably in a costume or something because I didn't see your face pop out anywhere.
No, I was in a wig. I had a goatee, long goatee and mustache, spirit gummed onto me. I had a wig. Then I had a hat that was bobby pinned, this big old hat that was bobby pinned into the wig. And then I had a mask on top of that. So yeah, nobody was going to see me. I knew, but the hat was so. Every time they'd stop, I'd turn my head, and I would end up hitting my partner in the head with my hat because it was so big. I mean, I had to turn sideways to go through a doorway.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, okay.
Was it fun working with Eddie Murphy? Did you get to interact with him at all?
I didn't get to interact with him very much. Now, Nathaniel Parker, who played Master Gracie, who was in Hamlet with Mel Gibson, and is a theater actor, we got to interact a little bit with him. I did. My biggest takeaway from that is he doesn't know how to dance.
Really?
Terrence Stamp doesn't know how to dance. But again, you're doing Viennese waltz, which is one of the hardest waltzes to do, just because of the footwork, and the timing is a lot faster than the normal waltz.
Oh, I see.
So you have to. The interesting story with that is that a couple of months prior to that, Disney had hired a bunch of actors who said they could dance. And so they got them on and got in rehearsal, and they found out that they really couldn't dance. So they decided, well, we're going to call around to some of the dance studios to see if there's any, dancers that are also actors. Mm-hmm. And I was working at Sherman Oaks Arthur Murray Dance Studio. And my dance partner, was also the receptionist, because you had to do other duties when you were teaching dance. And she took the call, and she said, hey, you want to go to this audition with me? It's for Disney's The Haunted Mansion, and it's an immediate Taft-Hartley into Screen Actors Guild if you get cast. And I thought, hell to the that's why the hell I'm out here.
Exactly.
So let's go. So we went, and we auditioned and stuff like that. And that's the first job that I've ever been hired on the spot for by the casting director.
Really?
Yeah.
They saw your dancing and immediately were like, yep.
Yeah, because again, we're trained ballroom dancers, so there was no question that we didn't know what we were doing.
Right, you're way ahead of these other people that they thought could dance.
Exactly,
that's exactly what you do for a living. You
know?
And
there was a lot. I mean, there were a lot of people there auditioning. So I didn't know a lot, and all of them are ballroom dancers or ballroom dance instructors that are also actors. So it was a crapshoot. That's like, I might not get this at all. And I was fortunate enough that it worked out in my favor. So
hell yeah, man, that's a big one.
And it helped that I had a hell of a good, dance partner to dance to audition with. Because we danced before at the studio, so we were already comfortable with each other. So that helped a lot.
Hell yeah, that's badass for sure. So. You also had another movie that I know about. I think it's called Death Alley. Mm-hmm. And that was shot at Cowtown, right?
That was shot at Cowtown, yeah.
Yeah, so my mom, she used to volunteer at Cowtown at the time. She told me about that movie because when I told her that I was having you on here, she was like, oh, after we were looking through your page, she's like, I remember when they came to Cowtown to shoot that movie. There was a bunch of people there filming. So
that was an interesting time. That was right at the start of the COVID.
Oh, really?
The COVID thing, and I'd been sick prior to that, so I'd had an angry tooth that I had that I had to get taken care of, and then I ended up getting flu type B, and
oh wow,
my son had flu type A, and then I got this weird, just whatever virus or something. This before they knew it was COVID, and I had it for like 2 months, and it's just like, this thing's not going away. And I went to the doctor, and they tested me for flu again, and they said, well, it's not flu. Mm-hmm. It's just some mystery virus that you're just gonna have to ride out, because my heart rate just soared. I woke up one morning and everything was fuzzy and stuff, and my heart rate was like 183.
Holy shit.
And I was thinking, there's this isn't normal.
Yeah.
And so I ended up finally going to the doctor, and my heart rate finally went down, but it scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
And I finished shooting the movie. I had to do running scenes when I wasn't I couldn't get all my breath. Yeah, I couldn't get my breath and stuff like that, but no one knew what the hell it was. And it was before, I'd already had it for weeks before I was filming. So, it was, I didn't know whether it was COVID. I didn't know whether it was just something else. I didn't know whether it was anxiety because of all this crap. And it's just, and I'm still not sure.
Well, I mean, looking back, there's several people that I knew that had similar stories to that, where before they knew what COVID was, we're talking like early 2020,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They got really sick. It was a mystery. The doctors couldn't figure it out. It wasn't influenza.
Mm-hmm.
And, they just can assume, I guess, that it might have been COVID. Who knows?
Yeah, and I mean, this is like early March,
Yeah.
and so of 2020, and it was crazy.
It's pretty likely that it was, it was going around then.
Quite possibly. I mean, if it was, I feel terrible,
Yeah.
But my son was in the movie, so he got to.
Oh, really?
Because he has Down syndrome.
Oh, wow.
So he loves to act, and he loves to be in front of the camera, and he loves all of that stuff. And so he got a chance to be in the movie, and that's one of the biggest reasons that I agreed to do it, was so he could be a part of that.
How did that work? Did you ask if he could be in the movie?
No, the director asked me. He said, you think your son would be interested in
Well, that's badass.
and being in it? And I
Yeah.
said, well, he would love it. I just don't know if he can, because with the Down syndrome kind of impedes him on a lot of things. But
Mm-hmm.
he did a really, really good job. And, he's been on other movies, like short movie sets and, films and stuff like that, on sets like that. But he knows when a director yells cut and go back to one, he knows exactly what to do.
Yeah.
He knows what the word action means.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll say, when we're at home, a lot of times when we're ready to do something, he'll go, and action. And we'll do it, and he goes, and cut.
So he enjoys it then, the whole process, doesn't he?
He loves it. He loves it,
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that he'll be able to get in the business and
That'd be really cool.
do something,
Yeah.
So
That'd be really cool.
It's fun.
Yeah, there's a need for everybody, man, especially in acting,
Mm-hmm. Well, there is, and I got to tell you that my wife has been a wonderful supporter of this career. She this is not easy, and that's what I tell a lot of people. And like, I was in Texas for almost a week shooting, and then I come back, and then the next day I'm in Cowtown shooting and stuff like that. And so there's a lot of things that she has to do on top of what she was already doing when I'm gone. And she's a pre-K teacher on top of that. So, she has been, she's kind of my backbone, as far as she keeps things running. She's very supportive, and
That's exactly what you need, right?
well, yeah, I mean, but that's what I tell young, actors, that, especially ones that are going to get married or hoping to get married, you need to talk with your spouse about the realities of this business, because it's not glam.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. I mean, I was shooting out in the middle of the Texas plains with 45 to 50 mile per hour winds.
Yeah.
And trying to shoot a scene and not have your hat blow off or your hair blow in your face, or, it mess up the sound or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's not glam at all. So, we ate on paper plates and hoped that the damn wind didn't blow our food all over us. So that's the reality of the business.
Uh-huh.
So
make sure you understand that if you want to pursue that career.
Well, yeah, and each set is different, because I shot a film in Georgia last October, and I had my own trailer, and I could eat in there and all that good stuff. But that was that production. This production, you had a home base, but you didn't have, when you were out in the middle of the plains, you're out in the middle of the plains,
Mm-hmm.
and you're sitting in a car, and you're waiting for them until they need you on set. And
Mm-hmm.
it's
That's pretty
just the way
cool,
it is.
though. I mean, some people enjoy the diversity of sets and places you're at, because you're not just doing the same thing all the time. I'm sure a lot of people get into that to your career for that very reason. They're not going to the same place for work every day.
That is true, and you know, I'm fortunate enough that also I have a place of employment here, because I mean, if you're not going to make a living as an actor by living in Wichita, Kansas. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
Unless you're fortunate. I mean, some theater actors, you know, that's all they do, and that's great. I know some of them, and they're very good at what they do, and that's all they do. They don't have any really interest in doing film. They do theater, and that's fantastic. You know, I don't want to do theater all the time, so I work at a law office, and I'm very fortunate. Kansas Legal Services, they'll throw out there, that I can take off when I need to go audition or take off when I need to go film. You know, if my kids are out of school, they allow me to bring my kids to the office with me because I have my own office. And they're really flexible and really wonderful at working with what I do outside of the office. But I was honest with them when I hired on, when they interviewed me for the job. I was honest with them. I told them from the get-go what I do, what would happen, and that I needed to do that, and would they be okay with that?
Yeah.
And they were okay with it.
And that's what you need. You know, you
and,
need somebody that understands your lifestyle.
Well, if you're honest with them, instead of, you know, oh, and by the way, guess what? I need to
take off next week.
Well, why didn't you say anything when in the interview? You know, then that's when it becomes a problem.
Yep.
You know, but if you're upfront with people from the get-go, you know, 9 times out of 10, they'll work with you. And if they're not, then it's not the right place for you.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Then you just don't belong there if they're not going to work with you.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, and sometimes that's hard too.
Yeah.
You know, when you need the money to make a living. So.
Exactly. So, real quick, we touched on younger people getting into acting and stuff like that. I wanted to ask, though, do you think that you're ever too old to become an actor to pursue acting? If somebody always dreamed of doing it, they just never got around to it, and they're in their 30s, 40s, 50s.
No, I mean, no, you're not too old to ever be an actor. I mean, or become an actor. Sometimes it feels that way.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, acting is, you have to be realistic about where you fit. You know, when you're young, it's about wanting to be the star, you know, the lead, the man, or the woman in the project or on the set and stuff like that. And sometimes that works out really well. But as you grow older, you realize that's not necessarily where the best roles are at. I mean, character actors work far more than lead actors. Character actors have a broader canvas in which to paint with their character than a lead actor does. A lead actor has a certain parameter that he has to stick within. The hero has to stick within a certain parameter. The bad guy, he can broaden those parameters way out. You know? So, but if I'm a bad guy and I want to play and I want to give the illusion that I might be a good guy underneath, then I can do that, and it won't look crazy. But if I'm the hero and I start acting like a bad guy, and suddenly the audience is going, "What the hell's going on?
What?
You're the freaking hero." The heroes don't do that.
Yep,
you know, the bad guy acts like the hero for a little while, and the audience is going, he's up to something.
Yep.
I know what he's doing. You know, they don't question it. But if the hero it's just like, nah, dude, go back to the hero lane. Stay right there.
Makes complete sense.
Because you don't look right. So.
Well, cool, dude. What's your advice for people that want to get into it?
Get into theater.
Get into theater first?
Get into theater first. Research. Understand the business that you're getting yourself into. Understand that it's one of the hardest businesses to get into. There's a ton of rejection. You'll be rejected more than you'll be accepted. I've lost far more auditions than I've booked.
Yeah.
You know, and that continues to this day. So, you know, here's an example I want to give on that. is that in this movie that I'm doing right now, Buck Taylor, who played Newly on Gunsmoke.
Oh.
I mean, he's not. He was in Tombstone.
Really?
You know, and so fantastic guy. You know, fantastic actor. And you know, he's up in his 80s now, so he's slowing down a little bit. But I just recently learned that he still has to audition for roles.
Really?
Yeah.
He doesn't just get it.
He just doesn't know. They just don't cast him because he's Buck Taylor or that he was in Gunsmoke or Tombstone or whatever. He still has to audition. And he does it with grace. He does it just like I would with any other actor. I auditioned for it. Now I'm sure, and maybe in the back of his mind, he's thinking, "Why the hell do I have to audition for this? You can go back in history and see what I do and what I can do."
For sure.
You know, I'm freaking Buck Taylor, but he doesn't.
He probably feels like he earns it too whenever he goes through that audition process.
Probably. I mean, but it's a real lesson for all of us actors to be reminded that, you know, be grateful and have some grace that you're even being asked to audition.
Yeah.
Because you're one of the lucky few.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if a casting director gets 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 submissions and you're one of 30 actors out of that they pick to audition, you're already ahead of the game.
Yep.
I mean, you should feel damn good about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I always, you know, I've thought a couple of times, well, why the hell am I having to audition for this? That's what my demo reel's for. You
Sure.
see what I do.
Yeah.
But you got to step back from that and say, well, that's an arrogant, narcissistic thing to say and think.
To think that they're just going to handpick you right away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, who the hell? You're not Brad Pitt. You're not.
Yeah.
You're not Johnny Depp. You're not any of these. You're not Keanu Reeves. Although some people think I look like him when I have my full beard. When I have my beard,
I can see it.
So you know, you have to be grateful for the opportunity, and it gives you an opportunity to play, and for a moment you get to be that character that they're asking you to audition for. Whether you get it or you don't get it, it's up to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so but you get the opportunity to act and be what you say you are. So it's fun. So you know, it's that humility, I think, that is really inspiring.
Yeah, and really important.
Yeah.
You know, always be grateful and don't feel like that you're so good that people are just going to pick you. You know, I mean, it's
right, and sometimes it's hard. I mean, sometimes we're all human. You know, we just kind of want to, why do I have to audition for this?
Yeah,
I'm perfect for it. And it's just like,
well, I think you're perfect for it. No.
Hey, you know, so do I, but most of the time I'm wrong. So, you know, it's okay.
Well, you want to shout out some places people can find you?
Yeah, I mean, you can find me on IMDb, Internet Movie Database. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, where else? Twitter. You know, just Google search Delno, Delno Ebie, Ebie, and you'll find out where I'm at.
And go watch his movies.
Yes, go watch my movie. Go watch The Haunted Mansion, especially over and over and over again. So, because the more you watch it, the more residuals I get. Okay, just help a brother out. Okay,
yeah, help a brother out. Well, congrats on a successful career, man. Hey, you got a question?
I got a question. Yeah, I'm curious. You know, being well versed as you are in film and theater, as a professional, has it ruined movies for you when you watch and you look at the acting and you see how these actors are working, and has it ruined from poor performances by them?
Oh, depends on the movie. Depends on how vested and interested I am in the movie and whether I really care. I mean, you know, you can pick up when an actor is phoning it in and when they're not. And it doesn't really... what bothers me is if I see an actor that just acts like he just doesn't care. I mean, he's strictly there for the paycheck, and he doesn't really care, you know. And I mean, whatever reason, that's fine, but it doesn't draw you in. What's funny is I can't watch anything and not understand how it was probably shot or how it was probably done, you know.
Yeah.
So it's you know, a lot of times I'll watch not only the acting, but the directing, because I'm interested in directing, and the writing, and you know, the way the cinematographer set up the shot, you know, or why they might have done it, or why they didn't do something, or why they did that, or whatever. What's funny is a lot of times you'll see something maybe that was left. Like there was an episode of The Walking Dead to where a character gets into a truck and he starts to drive off, and you can clearly see the light that they placed in front of the steering wheel to you know, brighten him.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and it's a quick drive off, but it's kind of like, how did you not get that in post?
Right.
But then again, when you think, you know, they're editing these so quickly, you know,
just to get them pumped out.
Yeah, things get missed.
Yeah.
You know, so you gotta have a little bit of forgiveness on some of that stuff. But the Starbucks cup in the Game of Thrones thing, that should have never happened. Ever happened. That was a lazy actor. Because an actor just thought, well, I'm drinking my Starbucks. It's like, okay, we're getting ready to shoot. Oh, I'll just put it over. They'll never see that. And then all of a sudden, it's like, damn it.
Who's to say they didn't have Starbucks in that world?
Hey, you know, somebody just,
story.
you know, shot forward. Suddenly it became a Flash movie, and, you know, he just went forward in the future, grabbed Starbucks, came back.
Yeah.
But, you know, some of that you just wonder why. And, you know, I know we're running short on time, but I mean, or long, well, we've kind of went long, but actors have to take responsibility also for what they bring on set, making sure the crap's not, you know, shouldn't be in the scene that wasn't in the scene, you know, or shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
You know, that actor, whoever set that cup there, should have probably went, wait, take my Starbucks cup.
Yeah.
You know, assistant, come here. I need you to hold this.
Take responsibility for it.
Take responsibility for it. It's the whole thing, and this is a whole nother conversation. But I'm gonna make this quick.
Okay.
On the Rust set with the whole you know, Alec Baldwin thing and the unfortunate you know, happening there. I've handled weapons on set.
Mm-hmm.
All right. As an actor, you have to take responsibility. Yes. What happened there is it was a breakdown of protocol. That's the only reason that happened. And, you know, people, it was all the armorer's fault. It's all Baldwin's fault. It's all this person's fault. It's all that person's fault. It was everybody's fault. You do not skip protocol. You do not skip the steps that are meant to keep you as an actor and a crew safe. You don't do it, especially when you're handling weapons of any kind.
So you would still place some blame on Alec Baldwin, even if it wasn't his job to
check? He should. Well, I've had guns handed to me that are not supposed to have anything in them. I still check them. Mm-hmm. I don't just take somebody's word for it. All right? I make sure. I ask a question. Are there any rounds in this? Dummy rounds.
Yeah.
You know, no. Well, then check. And a lot of times I've been fortunate enough to work with armorers that will show you there is nothing in this before they hand it to you.
Why do they use real weapons on set? Why can't they make...
Think about it. In today's day and age, you have 4K, you have 6K, you have 8K, you know, that produces incredible detail. So if I'm doing a close-up on someone pointing a gun at somebody, you're going to be able to pick up in that there is no... that it's just a empty chamber, you know, and it's supposed to be loaded. So that destroys, it kind of breaks that disbelief or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, you know, you have to have, you can put a dummy round in that or whatever to make it look like
I would still just be sketched out, just being, you know, I grew up around a lot of guns and I learned gun safety at a very young age, and I'm just, it would sketch me out having a real weapon, even if I know myself I can see with my own eyes that it's not loaded. Pointing it at somebody, I don't know, man. That just
Well, again, it is. I mean, I've pointed weapons, and I've had weapons pointed at me. I've had real weapons, and I've had non-firing replicas, which is great. But again, I knew that there was nothing in that weapon because I checked it as an actor. You have to take responsibility for that weapon. You give it back to the armorer. You know, you don't just hand it to somebody to give to the armorer or anything like that. So you've got to, as an actor, you know, there's some culpability in your role.
Everybody should be on top of it.
Yeah.
Don't ever assume that it's good.
Don't assume. When people start assuming, is it creates the tragedy that happened.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I wasn't there. So,
but you know how these things work. You know what it's like being on set.
Yeah,
You know, so your opinion is a lot more valued than somebody that doesn't know what they're talking about.
It's the same thing if you're handling a weapon on stage.
Yeah.
You know, because there have been people that have been injured or fatalities that have happened in theatrical productions.
You got stabbed. Remember?
I got stabbed. Yeah, exactly. So you know, fortunately that rapier was blunted at the end. But if it hadn't have been,
gone right through.
I'd have been in a lot of pain.
Yeah,
and so would have Romeo, because I still had one good arm. So, but yeah, you can't shortcut protocol.
Yeah,
it's there for a reason.
And that's pretty obvious. Bad things happen.
That's the thing that young actors have to understand when they're on a set, is that the rules and the protocol that is in place is there for a reason. It's not there just for shits and giggles. Someone just didn't randomly say, "Oh, we're going to do that." Mm-hmm. It's there for a reason, because when you're on a film set, it's a chaotic, it's controlled chaos.
Yeah.
You know, because you got multiple people running around doing this, that, and the other thing. I need to get this actor to the set. I need to get this actor to the set. This actor's got to go to lunch. Oh, I need this wardrobe. Oh, we had a wardrobe. We got a wardrobe problem. Can we get wardrobe down to set? You know. Oh, his makeup looked terrible. Can we get a makeup fix, please?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? All this chaos. So if you don't have those steps in place, then that chaos becomes uncontrollable.
For sure, man. I can definitely see that.
So that's what I hope young actors will remember when they get on a set is just follow the rules.
Yep.
That's all you got to do. And experienced actors. Baldwin knew better.
That's what I'm saying, man. Is like,
he knew better.
That's a seasoned actor, you know.
He's a seasoned actor, and he knew better. And unfortunately, I think his career is over because of it.
Yeah, especially because he doesn't even still take responsibility to this day. And I don't know.
You know, I'm not to say. I'm not to say. I'm just looking at it from an outsider's observation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is that this woman isn't here anymore. You know, you have a husband that doesn't have a wife anymore. You have kids that doesn't have a mother anymore.
Yeah.
All because of something that could have been avoided.
Yep.
It wasn't like a crane fell on her head or something
like
that.
Nope. It's a lot more tragic than that.
Yeah. Yeah. So
it just sucks for everybody involved.
So, you know, I really hope there's some changes to that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I hope we start using more CGI. I mean, there's no reason to use even fake rounds, you know.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it'll be a thing of the past at some point, you know.
You know, make something that you can put in the like a 6-shooter, like a Western 6-shooter, that looks like a gun or looks like a bullet, but you know it won't fire. It's not even a dummy round. It's just like a painting.
It's nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it common to have live rounds?
No.
Why was there live
rounds? No, there
should
have never been live rounds. I don't know. There should have never been live rounds.
From what I read, is that they were actually using that gun to shoot with on their off time when they weren't shooting.
Well, then that's then that's on them. They should have never been firing those weapons offset or anywhere.
Yeah.
Those weapons should have been strictly for set.
Exactly. Yeah.
Strictly for set.
If you want to use them for gun range shooting, I mean, that's crazy in my opinion.
Well, that's why you hire professionals that that's what they train you for. That's what they do.
Yeah.
You know, Keanu Reeves, that's who he went to learn to shoot for the John Wick films. You know, nobody got shot during that.
Yeah.
So, you know, but you had professionals making sure that protocol was not broken anywhere along that line.
Right.
So
he became a badass shooter from those movies too.
Yeah, he's far better than I thought he would. I mean, I've watched even when he was learning to do it or it's like, dude.
I've seen him at the range and he tears it up, man. He's a good shot.
It's like, whoa. He's pretty badass.
I know you say you know, you try to give credit away, but as far as a person who plays the bad guy and is also in a lot of westerns, a lot of times, you know, weapons and how it works in film. I mean, your opinion is valid.
Well, and I mean, I'm not a weapons expert by any shape or the imagination, you know.
But yeah, in film,
but you have again follow the rules and follow the steps. It's not any difficult than that. It's not more
follow
difficult
the procedures and it's simple, you know.
Yeah.
Then you know you're good every time.
I mean, when you're I mean, if you go out hunting, which I'm assuming you guys probably do, you know, there are certain rules and protocol that you follow, so neither one of you end up shooting each other.
For sure. Yeah.
You know, accidents happen when you say, I don't need to follow that.
When you skip the step, that's the time that it'll be a big fuck up, you know.
Exactly.
And then it's really bad.
Yeah.
It's nothing to mess with.
No, it's not. And then but it's a shame. It's a shame.
All right. Well, I want to say congratulations on a good career and a successful career.
Thanks.
And I hope that you continue to land the roles that you want.
Me too.
And, thanks for teaching kids and for teaching people how to act and dance. Super important.
It's fun.
Yeah.
So keeps me on my toes.
Yeah. And thanks for coming on my podcast, man. I appreciate it.
Hey.
To Delno.
All
Cheers,
right.
buddy.
Cheers, man.